You have 4 wheels. I say, why not make all of them count? 4x4 trucks are like the Swiss Army knife of automobiles. They go where others would be left stranded. They're a ticket to an outdoorsy lifestyle. You can go overlanding. You can traverse the rivers of Rizal and the occasional rivers of Metro Manila. The problem is that most brands position their 4x4 variants near the top end at 1.8 to 1.9 million pesos or near the bottom end with a manual transmission and basic features. This juggernaut right here is the Ford Ranger Sport 4x4. It's an automatic and it only sells for 1.6 million pesos. Is it worth your money? Let's find out. The Ranger Sport 4x4 slots in between the Ranger Wildtrak 4x4 and the Ranger Wildtrak 4x2 in terms of pricing. Usually when you see the word sport next to a pickup's name, you expect everything to be blacked out. But this one is actually not as blacked out as you would expect. It gets polished wheels which look less rugged and less sporty than the dark wheels of the Wildtrak. It does get some unique cosmetic bits though that distinguish it from the rest of the lineup. So you can easily tell the Sport variant apart from the other variants by looking at the bumper. The Sport is the only variant that comes with a two-tone bumper. The lower part of the bumper is finished in gunmetal. But like the Wildtrak, this also gets the C-clamp LED headlamps and this grille finished in gunmetal. Now like the Wildtrak, this also gets 18-inch wheels, although these have a different design. They're wrapped in 255/65 series Goodyear tires. This gets power folding side mirrors with repeaters and it's finished in gunmetal. Also the door openers are finished in gunmetal. This has a smart locking system so you don't have to get the key out of your pocket to lock or unlock the vehicle. Just put your finger here to lock it and put your hand here to unlock it. Now unlike the Wildtrak, this does not get roof rails and this gets drum brakes at the back, unlike the Wildtrak which gets 4-wheel disc brakes. Here at the back it gets LED tail lamps, a bumper finished in gunmetal, and this gets an assisted liftgate. So you can open or close this using just 2 fingers. The Ranger has the biggest bed in its class. Its wider track means more space between the wheel arches, enough space to fit a standard-sized Euro pallet. The Sport comes standard with a bed liner, and payload capacity is about the same as the other pickups in its class, which is about 1,000 kilograms. In the Ranger lineup, only the Ranger Wildtrak 4x4 gets a different engine. The rest come with the same engine as the Sport 4x4, which is a 2-liter 4-cylinder single turbo engine that puts out 170 horsepower and 405 Newton meters of torque. I think the Ranger has one of the best looking interiors in its class, and that is true for almost every variant of the Ranger. Looking at this interior, you don't see a lot of cost cutting. You get leather seats with Sport badging. The steering wheel is covered in leather. The armrests over here are covered in leather, although this one is made of hard plastic. The dashboard is almost the same as the other variants. All variants except for the Wildtrak get the same 10-inch vertical screen. This has wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, and it also gets a reverse camera with active guidelines. This gets single zone climate control, and you get physical knobs and buttons over here. You get a wireless phone charger. You get 1 USB-C port, 1 USB-A port. Your 12-volt outlet is underneath the armrest. Now this gets a manual handbrake, which is not really a negative for me, especially for a utility vehicle or an off-road vehicle like this one. So like the Wildtrak 4x4, this also gets a rear differential lock. You get hill descent control. It's a fully featured off-road vehicle for a lot less money than a lot of its competitors. Yeah, in terms of storage, the glove box is decently sized. It is not dampened though. You get plenty of storage underneath the armrest. You have some storage here for your phone. You don't get the cup holders next to the air con vents that you get on the Wildtrak. Instead, you just get 2 cup holders over here. Here at the back, you don't get air con vents, but you do get one 12-volt outlet. You get a foldable armrest with 2 cup holders. Of course, you also get leather seats back here. Headroom is about 3.5 inches. Legroom is about 4.5 inches. The Ford Ranger is one of the most refined pickups in its class. Ride quality is one of the best in its class. Now I have to stress in its class because if you're coming from crossovers, SUVs or sedans, it's still gonna feel bouncy. But compared to other pickups, it rides a lot better. Now all variants of the Ranger, except for the Ranger Raptor, have the same suspension, so they all ride about the same. It's also the most quiet in its class by a significant margin. Sometimes you forget that you're driving a diesel, as you can barely hear the diesel clatter inside the cabin. Fuel economy is decent. I got about 9 kpl in the city and about 15 kpl on the highway. Now I say this a lot in my videos, but the Philippines is rich in gorgeous landscapes. And some are just an hour away from Manila. It's a shame if you don't get to visit them at least once. To reach some of the more remote, less touristy areas, you'd either need a 4x4 vehicle or good hiking skills. Recently, Ford Philippines invited members of the Philippine Motor Media to a trip to Rizal to celebrate Truck Month, a yearly event where they offer significant discounts for their pickups. All variants of the Ranger will get discounts except for the Ranger Raptor. The trail going to Taraitan was completely unpaved, but it was not at all a challenge for the Ranger Sport 4x4. The Ranger Sport 4x4 is almost fully equipped for off-roading. It has a rear differential lock, it has 4-low, it has hill descent control. The only thing you need are all-terrain or mud tires, and you're set for hardcore off-road trails. Like the previous gen Ranger, the current gen also has 800mm of wading depth. Now we got to test that on the previous gen Ranger FX4 Max, and it was legit. This time though, the river is a bit higher and the current is quite strong. So we took a raft instead. We did park right at the edge of the river though, so there was still a bit of risk involved. The Ranger Sport 4x4 sells for 1.6 million pesos. It's almost 300,000 pesos less expensive than the Wildtrak 4x4. And for that price difference, the Wildtrak gets ADAS, a bigger screen with a 360 camera, power seats, rear aircon vents, power outlets at the bed, rear disc brakes. The Wildtrak 4x4 also comes with a more powerful 2-liter bi-turbo engine and a 10-speed transmission. Now that's a lot of extra features, but it's also a lot of extra money. At its price, the Ranger Sport 4x4 is in a class all its own. The next most affordable 4x4 automatic pickup is the Navara VL 4x4 at 1.7 million. And the rest sell for close to 1.9. Given the fact that the Sport 4x4 already comes with a full leather interior and amenities such as wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, a wireless phone charger, also the biggest bed and most spacious cabin in its class, it's a very attractive proposition for those who are looking for a 4x4.